We're back on this Tuesday with more of Today, and that guy, not us, who says if you're fat, it's your own fault.
If you're one of those people who've used every excuse under the sun for not losing weight, from your genes to your metabolism to having children, well, you might not want to hear this. Steve Siebold says, Die Fat or Get Tough. That's the name of his book. It includes 101 differences in thinking between fat people and thin people.
Well, fit. Is that the word you use?
Yeah.
Because it's more physical than it's also emotional and mental.
Okay, so your book is very, how can we put this gently, direct, and you even acknowledge rude in some cases, right? You're trying to shake people up.
Right.
What's your message?
Well, it's that mental toughness is the missing ingredient in getting fit. And no one's talking about it. This book tells the truth about what it really takes to get fit and healthy. And everyone's talking about diets and this and that and exercise programs and emotional issues and cortisol and ingredients and food in restaurants, and it's everyone's fault but ours. And this book says we're responsible. We need to take responsibility.
I always think, we do a lot of these Joy Fit segments, and I always think behind every overweight woman there is an emotional issue, and until you address that, and that's what they all tell us, until you get to that,
their aha moment, they call it.
Right, not eating a Twinkie or everyone's, because, a lot of women have heard their husbands say, stop eating that. If you just quit eating, you'd be thin. But it's not that simple for women.
Well, honestly, I think it is that simple. This is a linear process. I understand what you're saying, and I think the emotional issues and all these other things make it more difficult to actually lose the weight. But losing weight and getting fit is actually a very linear process. If you stick to the diet and the exercise program, you will get fit no matter what your emotional issues are, no matter what's happening at home. It's a completely linear process. There's no mystique.
Well, it should be the same thing for smoking then for
absolutely.
And he says it is.
It's linear. It's completely linear. But it's been this idea in the mass media, especially, that's perpetuated this concept that it's not linear. That there's all this mystique to this. There is no mystique to this process.
But only 30% of kids have recess anymore in school. There were times when kids were more active and doing things. I'm not saying blame the schools because your kid's fat, but when you think about what's being taken away from these kids, you can sort of see you can see results of that.
All the more reason to teach your kid, I guess, to be mentally tough.
You got to be more mentally tough, and I agree with you. It's tougher, and I'm not saying this is easy. I lost 40 pounds. I'm going after fat people. I was a fat person. I lost 40 pounds in 12 weeks, and so I'm one of the people I'm talking about. I think more like a fat person, I think, sometimes, than a fit person, so I get it. But while it's difficult, it is totally doable and totally linear. If you do the work, you'll get the result. There is no mystique or mystery.
It's interesting at the end of your book. It's something I've never seen in any book I've ever read in my lifetime, and I've read a lot of them. You have not a disclaimer at the back, but an apology of sorts, saying, look, I know I was tough, I was rude, even at once in a while I thought, hey, that guy's a jerk. And I agreed with you, right? Yeah, you agreed with yourself. You were a jerk. But it was almost like he was a Marine Corps guy that's there's no way I'm going to send you off to war unless I get you fit. Now, it has that sort of a tone to it. And obviously that was on purpose.
Yeah, when I did the second edit of the book, I'm out on my boat on Lake Lanier in North Georgia, and I read it and I thought, I'm a jerk. I'm really being a jerk. But it's not for the purpose of being mean-spirited or a jerk. It's really to cut through the psychological self-delusion that people have by blaming everyone but themselves. And I did the same thing.
Some people don't respond to drill sergeant mentality. You know what I mean? Like some
then they're
people
going to be fat, probably.
No, but they need to be self-motivated as opposed to someone saying, look, I'll be honest, I didn't read through your whole book, but
I did.
But when it says fat loser quote, I'm kind of turned off. I'm like, fat loser quote? Like, that wouldn't make someone who has a weight issue feel comfortable reading, would it?
Well, it's not about being comfortable. It's about being successful. It's about, we're losing this battle, you guys. We're losing the obesity epidemic here. And and this is, you talk about healthcare reform. You want healthcare reform. Mental toughness is it. This country was built on self-reliance, not socialism.
How do you teach someone to be mentally tough? But how do you teach that?
Well, in the book, what we do is we talk about the differences in thinking between fat people and fit people, because we interviewed about 1,000 people over 5 years. And we said, and I sat down with fat people, and I just say fat to make it very direct, to cut through delusional thinking. That's why it's not to be rude, it's just to cut through. And they had all kinds of different things. Like fat people we interviewed said, well, willpower will not work. Well, you saw the donuts in the green room back there.
Yeah.
There, I could dive into those donuts, But I didn't, and probably neither one of you did either. And that's that's willpower. If I don't eat the donut and I want the donut, and I wanted all those donuts, the whole plate. And I didn't do it. That's willpower.
He gives ways, we got to be fair about, to try to break this cycle.
Yeah, you do.
Because so many people are stuck in a cycle of losing, gaining. All right, we got to go. We could talk to you forever. Hoda, as you can tell, doesn't like you very much. But I think you're a great guy.
Steve Siebold. Steve, I like you too.
Thank you, Hoda. appreciate it.
book is
Thanks for having
called
me.
Die Fat or Get Tough.